Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Fantasy Pros Football Podcast. I'm Ryan Wormeli, joined as I am every Friday morning by Pat Fitzmaurice and by Derek Brown. We are doing our key questions episode for Week 4. Quick reminder that all of our weekly consensus rankings and tiers can be found at fantasypros.com/rankings. Not only is the season, going fast as it always does, we're into Week 4, like I said, we are also into the early games. We have Vikings at Steelers, which is in Ireland, and it is, one of our international early games. So it's going to be a very long Sunday for everyone watching football. Hopefully a very fun Sunday for everyone. Hopefully a very lucrative Sunday in your fantasy teams, and if you're making any bets as well. I just want to quickly ask before we dive into the game, D-Bro, I am adamantly opposed to this expansion of the international games. I don't need a 9 a.m. Eastern, whatever time it is. I don't need these early starts. Once a year as a novelty is fine. I don't need this 5 or 6 week stretch where we have it in the middle of seemingly every season now, and it's only getting more and more. How do you feel about it?
I don't think that that's necessary. I wish the NFL would take away the Thursday night games and then move to a Friday night game. And then I like the Monday double headers and stuff, but all the international stuff, it's I get it. And I understand the global reach of the NFL. I understand all of that, but it doesn't make it as much of a novelty when it becomes so much more commonplace.
I agree. By the way, on those Thursday games, I don't think it'd be very difficult if you said we're just going to do them during the time of year where there are buys and always just make it 2 teams coming off a bye, and then you don't have this immediate turnaround. And then you can do the opener still as well because they have plenty of time before that. That's kind of my thought on the Thursdays. Fitz, what do you think about all these international games? I get expanding the game, but it just feels like it's too much.
Like you, I would like to see fewer of them, maybe 1 or 2 a year, not 5 or 6 or whatever it is this year. I dislike those more than I dislike the overlapping Monday games more than I dislike the early Sunday games. The overlapping Monday night games just really annoy me. I'd like to, I want Monday night games to be standalone games. I want to be able to watch all of whatever game there is. And the first set was okay when they did not overlap and we got 2 games. That was cool. Yeah. The overlapping ones.
Well, all the East Coast folks had big complaints about the.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but everybody thinks they look everybody talks like they're in East Coast. East Coast time zone thinks that the rest of the world lives in East Coast.
Deeper, I don't even know what time zone you like because the other day on Twitter you were crapping on Mountain Time Zone. So
Mountain Time's made up. We all know that.
They're all made up.
We can all count on one hand how many people we know live in Mountain Time.
Every time zone is made up. I believe Denver has the most employees of any city at our company, so you should show some respect to Mountain Time.
And by the way, Debro, we're never getting NFL games on Friday nights. They're just never going to mess with high school football. There are too many NFL fans whose kids play high school football, and they are preoccupied.
And they'll never get Saturday night because then it'll conflict with college, and the NCAA will riot. So I know, just wishful thinking.
I just think we can move on after this. I just think that the limited availability of football is a huge part of why it's so successful. If there was 162 games like in baseball, it wouldn't feel as special having a whole day dedicated to it every week on Sundays. And, your team only gets to play once a week. So it really if baseball was played only once a week, those games would be way more popular. I think the scarcity of football is a huge part of its appeal, and if you get rid of that, I just think you're playing with fire. Not that it's going to become unpopular or anything, but I don't like it. Is my point. Let's dive into that Ireland game, Vikings at Steelers. And I want to ask about Jordan Addison, who is coming back off suspension. Fitz, we'll start with you. How will Jordan Addison's return from suspension impact the Vikings passing game for fantasy managers?
I don't think it'll be a big impact in this game. It's possible we only see Addison play maybe half to 2/3 of the offensive snaps. I'm sure he's probably in cardio shape after being away from the team, but maybe not in football shape yet. No hitting for him. Can't imagine he walks right in and plays 90% of the snaps. And Addison is probably not going to be completely in sync with Carson Wentz, considering that Wednesday was the first day that Carson Wentz has ever thrown a pass to Jordan Addison in a Vikings practice. So couple days ago. That was it. And so like I'm not expecting a 6-catch, 90-yard game for Jordan Addison right off the bat.
Do you see any impact, Fitz, for what Addison does to, like, are you expecting maybe a little bit less of a game from Jefferson, Hawkinson, anything like that, just to, as they work him in and get him incorporated back into the offense?
Not those guys, but I would not start Jalen Naylor or Adam Thielen this week.
Okay. I don't know how many people were starting them regardless, but it's fair to point out. Debra, what do you think? What are your expectations for Addison and kind of the offense as a whole with Addison back?
I mean, I think it's better things moving forward for the Vikings. Unfortunately, the acquisition of Adam Thielen has been pretty useless. Like, he's been a ghost the beginning of part of the season. And I understand they've been more run heavy than we all kind of anticipated, and things have kind of gone sideways. But also, did anybody think that through the first few games of the season to this point of the season right now, Adam Thielen will have only 6 targets, 2 catches, and 26 receiving yards, and a 9.2% target share? No. So considering that, Addison's going to provide a boost for this offense. And I mean, I'm with Fitzy that, like, I don't think he plays like 90% of the snaps, but I think when they're out there in passing downs, like, he's still going to have like a 70 to 75% route per dropback rate. And they probably just cut him on like more condensed packages, running some 12 and run plays and stuff. That's where they take him off the field. But when they're passing, I think he's going to be on the field, and I think he's going to have a good day, man. Like, this Pittsburgh secondary has been god awful. Like, just, they have been nothing close to what I think any of us thought they were going to be entering the season, considering the talent, the names, everything. And looking at the coverage structure, Pittsburgh has been single high heavy for the last 2 seasons. We know we're going to get that. This year, 67% of the defensive snaps. Against that last year, Addison tore it up, man. He had 2.2 yards per route run, 27% first read share. The matchup is good. I think even on limited snaps, like, even if he plays 70%, like, I'm pretty confident he's going to put up a strong stat line. Like, I got him at wide receiver 34 this week.
Well,
did you guys think about Addison when ranking Carson Wentz this week? Like, does he actually go up a little bit for that, or no?
I didn't. Only because I don't think he's like, Carson Wentz is going to throw a ton, and this is also a good game to lean on Jordan Mason because the Steelers' run defense has been pretty bad.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at with Wentz. I've got him QB 27. I just think they're trying to hide him as much as possible.
Yeah.
All right.
But Debro did make a pretty good case for Addison. I might have to move him up a little. I've got him.
Where do you have him at right now, Fitzy?
I'm like in the 50s with him, like 53 or 52 or something like that. But I should probably have him in the 40s.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Commanders at Falcons. This is back to the normal Sunday early slate. Opposing RB1s against the Commanders have all finished with under 4 yards per carry in each game this season. I believe it was like under 3 in the first game. And then the next 2 have been about 3.7 per game. I forgot to write it down, but I think I'm remembering that correctly. But it's all been under 4 yards per carry. It's not like we would consider sitting Bijan Robinson under any circumstance. But, Debro, is this a defense that could give him some trouble maybe?
I'm not worried about it, to be honest. Just because if you look at how good Bijan, and looking at this run defense on paper, like, if you're not a highly explosive runner, if you're one of these more volume compiling, not can really do and create extra yards just by yourself, then it's more concerning. Like Washington, like, if you look at on paper the matchup, they do have the 7th best stuff rate. So again, going back to the archetypes and some of the running backs they face, like the Giants don't have a good offensive line. The Packers, Josh Jacobs is good at what he does, but we're not saying like he's not out here ripping 50 and 60-yard runs, and he's not known for his explosiveness. And Ashton Genty, again, terrible offensive line. I think more of what we've seen so far from the Commanders has been a function of a middle-of-the-road run defense that has faced some pretty, like 2 of these 3 teams they've played at putrid offensive lines, or they're playing bad. This run defense also has allowed the 10th highest explosive run rate, and they're middle of the road as far as missed tackle rate. Like, they're 17th. So you stack all that up against Bijan Robinson, who, I mean, Atlanta quietly, even despite the injuries, they're 9th best in yards before contact per attempt, which is probably more of a Bijan stat than it is for their O-line, because Bijan's freaking awesome. Like, he's top 15 in every single per-touch efficiency metric. The film test, the eye test also passes too. Like, I'm not worried about Bijan. I think that this is quietly a pretty good spot for him.
What do you think, Fitz?
Debro said it pretty well. Got to look at the opponents, and it was the Giants, and that was the Tyrone Tracy Giants, not the Cam Skattebo Giants.
Fair. Yep.
The Raiders last week, who haven't been able to run against anyone, and Ashton Genty is one of only 2 running backs in the league averaging negative yards before contact per carry. So really it was just Josh Jacobs as the only decent running back they've faced, and he did just fine. 23 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. So not a huge game, but a solid game. I'm kind of with Debro. Like, it's a pretty good, maybe above average run defense, but not a matchup to fear, and certainly not a matchup that's going to deter you from starting Bijan Robinson.
Today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is top rated, probably because there's so many promos and so much to bet. If you're doing some fantasy research for Sunday, don't forget to check out those players' odds to score on the Hard Rock Bet app. And if you want to ride a hot hand, look at the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. Fantasy Pros has Jalen Hurts as the consensus 3rd ranked quarterback this week. He's reached the end zone in 6 straight games. Or if you want a sleeper, David Montgomery is down at RB30, even coming after what he did on Monday night. But Montgomery does play very well in September. According to the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub, he scored a touchdown in 7 straight September games when Detroit is favored, as they are this week. You can bet that streak and find more insights any day of the week on Hard Rock Bet app. And if you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet yet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but $150 in extra bonus bets. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit. All right, we're going to Saints at Bills. As of when I put the sheet together, I didn't look to see if this moved at all, but when I put the sheet together a couple days ago, the Bills were laying 15.5 points on Hard Rock Bet, which is the biggest line of the season so far. Will they cover that spread? And then also, Fitz, I want you to pick one Saint that you like this week and one Bill you dislike to kind of go against the narrative of this game.
Ooh, interesting. All right. Yes, I do think the Bills cover in this one. They kind of sleepwalked through their Thursday night home game against the Dolphins and got a real scare in that game. So I think they'll be a little more dialed in against a second straight overmatched opponent. They've had extra rest time, extra prep time, and they haven't had to leave home. I think the Bills win big in this one. A Saint I like, I'll keep putting Chris Olave in lineups where I have him. Like his target count so far, 13, 10, 14. He has 23 catches already, although the weird thing is he has been between 54 and 57 yards in every game so far. So there's a sturdy floor, especially in PPR, if not exactly, the ceiling does not look like the Sistine Chapel here with Spencer Rattler at quarterback. A fade for the Bills, I'll say Dalton Kincaid. Like he's tight end 3 in fantasy scoring right now because he's gotten into the end zone a couple of times, but he's only playing about half the Bills' offensive snaps, and he hasn't had more than 6 targets in a game. So if there's anyone who disappoints, maybe it's him.
Fitz, would you rather start Kincaid or Kelsey this week?
Oh man, that is interesting. Let me check the rankings real quick. I think I do have Kincaid ranked higher. Kelsey looks pretty dusty.
They're back-to-back in ECR, and they're my 2 tight ends in a dynasty league that we're all in together. So I need to make that decision.
I've got Kincaid tight end 8.
Wait, you don't have Kincaid in that league. I have Kincaid in that league.
The other dynasty league that we're in.
Oh,
together.
okay. I was like, you can have Kincaid. I'll trade him to you.
No, you'll trade to me in the league where I already have Brock Bowers. No, I'm good.
You need a backup.
I have Kyle Pitts as my backup, actually.
I've got Kincaid tight end 8, Kelsey tight end 10.
Okay, so close, but yeah, you do lean in that direction.
Yeah.
D-Bro, what do you think about this game? Do you think the Bills are going to cover this huge spread? And then also pick a Saint you like and a Bill you dislike.
Man, you made me look this up. It's actually moved more in the direction of the Bills on Hard Rock Bet. It's minus 16.5 now. Like,
oh, okay.
Good Lord.
So it's
dude.
kind of the other direction. Yeah.
So I don't think the Bills cover on this, and only not because I think that the Saints are going to put up much of a fight. I just think that they can get there in garbage time stuff and make up after the Bills kind of take their foot off the gas. Because, I mean, if this number was like 12.5 or something like that, then fine. I think they cover.
It opened at 12.5, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. But 16.5? Dude, that's tough.
With that many, the back door is always open when there's a spread that big.
Exactly. And but the other thing about it is like, there are paths to the Saints moving the ball in this game. Like, their run defense is not stellar, so I think Kamara can get good usage on the ground. Chris Olave is my Saint for all the points that Fitzy laid out here. He's getting a crap ton of volume. But the other thing I'll point out here, too, is that, like, the Buffalo Bills have faced the 6th fewest perimeter wide receiver targets, but they rank 15th in fantasy points per game, and they've allowed the 5th highest PPR points per target to perimeter wide receivers. So quietly, pretty good spot for Chris Olave. So I feel really good about him as a wide receiver 3 this week. The bill that I'll fade because, Fitzy, I think this is going to make things tingle. I think it's the Keon Coleman week, bro. So I think Keon's in for a big day. And Khalil Shakir is the guy that I'll fade here. Just his usage, the Saints have been more single high heavy at 58.4% of their snaps. His usage versus single high this year has been okay, but it's not great. If there's one thing the Saints have actually been pretty good at, it's defending the slot. Slot receivers against the Saints have the 9th fewest PPR points per target and the 5th fewest fantasy points per game overall. So Shakir's my fade because I think it's gonna be a big Keon day.
On the big spread, like. Also, like, would it totally surprise you if the Bills kind of played with their food a bit too? Like, even not even just talking about a backdoor cover, but like a 3-0 team, like, it almost feels like given their schedule, they've already locked up the 1 seed in the AFC, going up against the team that a lot of people thought was going to be the worst
look-ahead
game,
or maybe Kellen Moore, like maybe I'm not saying the Saints win this, but it's closer because of garbage time and everything.
My point is that I don't think it's necessarily if they cover the Saints cover. That is, I don't think it's necessarily going to mean like, oh, they definitely it's a backdoor cover. Like, I could see it being closer than people expect for. Like, I don't think anybody will. At no point will I think the Bills are going to lose, but I could see it being, under 3 scores for most of the afternoon, and it feels like they're just not putting them away.
Well, and I also think it's in the Saints' favor being a dome team traveling to freaking Buffalo that this isn't in like the snow and the tundra and stuff like that too.
Yeah, for sure. So. All right, let's go to Browns at Lions. Fitz, sorry to be talking about the Browns facing an NFC North team. I know that's going to bring up some scars for you. The unstoppable force, right? The Lions offense versus the immovable object, the Browns defense, which has been really good this year. I mean, you think like not just statistically like, oh, the Browns defense has been really good. Think about who they have faced. They have faced the Bengals when they still had Joe Burrow, and it was a Bengals offense that had actually played in the preseason, unlike previous years. So you kind of thought they would be, more ready to go in week 1. In week 2, they faced the Ravens offense, which is like the second, or I think it's actually still the first, highest scoring offense in football. And then the Packers, who I know their defense isn't better than their offense, but it's been a good offense this year. And the Browns defense has made all 3 of those. I know the Ravens scored over 40 points, but that was a lot of like defense and special teams helping them get there. They have made every one of these offenses look pretty bad relative to the rest of the season. But again, the Lions offense is really good. So Fitz, I will start with you. Who wins the battle on that side of the ball, Lions offense or Browns defense?
Yeah, so I'm going to say the Lions, maybe more through the air than on the ground. Like the Browns are only giving up 2.2 yards per carry to running backs so far. They rank first in DVOA against the run, but they're only 18th in DVOA against the pass. So I don't think we're getting another 150-yard rushing day from David Montgomery. Sorry, Worm. But we might get a 150-yard day from either Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams. But this, not to diminish this Cleveland defense, it is really good. They totally stuffed the Green Bay offense into a locker last week. And the Packers could not handle the Browns defensive front after the Packers lost Zach Tom and Aaron Banks to injuries early in the game, 2 of their key starting linemen. After that, it was just kind of open season on Jordan Love, and they couldn't get any movement in the running game.
I think the Lions are going to do enough like to win the game, obviously. And so like by that measure, you could say that I'm picking the Lions offense. But like specifically on this side of the ball, I actually think the Browns defense is going to have the better day than the Lions offense. I'm just so impressed by what I've seen from Cleveland on that side of the ball. So D-Bro, go ahead and break our tie here.
I'm going to go with the Lions offense. And I think this all comes down to one specific factor in this game. Do Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge hold up? If they hold up against this defensive line, then the Lions can cook here. Really, and this all comes down to the trenches. And can the Browns have a good day? It is possible. If their D-line can get home, they can bring pressure because they are 7th best in pressure. And we know Jared Goff has a problem with that. That's what happened with the Packers game. Tate Ratledge and Mahogany were overmatched. But I think this offensive line is kind of not finding its stride, but I think they're playing better. Both of those guards have played better over the last 2 weeks. I think that continues this week. And if that happens, man, they might be without Denzel Ward. Their cornerbacks on the back end are not equipped to deal with this passing attack. Like, Cleveland has quietly been as good as their defensive line has been, and they are carrying the day. Their run defense is top 5 in the NFL. Again, I said they have the 7th best pressure rate. If those things, like if Detroit Lions just say, look, like if we got enough time with Jared Goff, whether it's short area targets or JMO just burning these corners, like they can put up some points. They just have to keep Jared Goff clean. And if they can do that, which I think I lean in the direction that they can, and I know I'm stepping out on a limb because we've already seen the Lions offensive line fold under a good D-line already previously. But if they can, Cleveland's given up the fifth most passing touchdowns, the 8th highest passer rating, and they're middle of the road in success rate, and they're quietly middle of the road in against deep passing. It just comes down to, can their pass rush and their D-line win? If not, it's a big day for JMO. It's a big day for Jared Goff. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to cook Miles Harden, who right now is giving up a 75% catch rate and a 130 pass rating in his coverage. He doesn't have a chance against Amon-Ra.
I am not as optimistic about the Lions line as you are, like in terms of them playing better last couple of weeks. I mean, like when week 3 they were facing the Ravens without Nnamdi Madubuike, without Kyle Van Noy, with a banged up Travis Jones, like that's not a good defensive line. It's the weakest unit on the Ravens as an entire team, really. So I don't think it was like impressive of the Lions offensive line to do what they did. And, you know, the week before against the Bears, like the Browns are closer to the Packers in that regard than they are the other 2 opponents they've faced. So I'm not ready to say like that this offensive line is ready for a matchup like this. I do think they will get kind of bullied by the Browns defensive line. And if they're shutting down the run and don't have that threat with Montgomery and Gibbs, that's kind of why I lean towards. Again, I do not think the Browns are going to win this game. I am not saying that because I think the Lions defense will do very, very well against the Browns offense, like every defense does against the Browns offense. But I do think we will come away saying, like, even if the Lions score some points, because they're going to just over the course of a long game, I think we'll come away saying the Browns defense won the battle, even if they lost the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The Browns defense, man, like if they, I mean, they had such a nice draft, getting the extra first-round pick for next year, getting Mason Taylor, who looks like a stud already. Carson Schwessinger is like already one of the, like, an above-average NFL linebacker from the jump. Like, he is really good. Grant Delpit is one of the better safeties in the league. Like, they have a really tough defense. If they can just like finally figure it out at quarterback, and they do have some ammo in the draft next year, like the Browns might not be, and I don't want to give the Browns fans false hope because I know they've had plenty of that over the years, but like they could be competitive in a hurry.
I want to save you here, Fitz, from the comments. You said Mason Taylor. It's Mason Graham.
Did I say? Oh, sorry about
obviously
that. Yes,
you know that,
Mason
but just so the commenters don't jump on you.
Also, shout out to Malik Collins. He's arguably playing some of the best football of his career right now.
Yeah. It's been, I mean, defense is a lot about effort, so I wonder if like later in the year, if like the offense has been just terrible all season, and
that's what I worry about, man. They're
but,
not going to play complementary football.
Yeah,
I worry
right
that
now,
this,
it's early enough that they're still pretty scary. Very, very scary, actually. Let Autopilot manage your fantasy football lineup automatically so you never have to worry about last-minute changes. Auto-swap inactive players and ensure your lineup is always optimized, even when you can't be online. Take control with the flexibility to approve lineup changes via email or let Autopilot handle everything. Stay ahead with My Playbook Autopilot, available now for Fantasy Pros Premium subscribers at fantasypros.com/myplaybook or on the Fantasy Pros app. Try Premium for free right now by claiming your 3-day trial of Fantasy Pros Premium at fantasypros.com/premium. All right, guys, Titans at Texans. Gross. Key question here. Houston is the lowest scoring team in football this season. Tennessee is also bottom 5. The total on this game is down at 38.5. Actually, I want to see if it's still there, because that's where it was again a couple of days ago. I wonder if that, like Bill Saints, has moved at all. It is. Oh, it's moved up. It's now at 39 on Hard Rock Bet. So the total in this game is now at 39 on Hard Rock Bet. What is the path to this game going over? Basically, what is the path to these offenses showing us anything in this game, D-Bro?
This is the lowest total of the week. Am I right with that?
Yes,
I believe. Okay.
I believe it's the second lowest total of the season behind Steelers Jets in week 1, which obviously did go over.
Yeah, Minnesota and Pittsburgh's close, but they're not in the 30s. This is the only one in the 30s. The path for this going over, man, really comes down to two things for me. Houston's offense, it has to like carry the day here. Tennessee's not going to put up a ton of points, regardless of how you look at this. So Houston has to like somehow find a way. CJ Stroud's got to play better. It really, I think not only Stroud, but Nico has to have a big day. And he can do that versus this Tennessee pass defense. Like, they're not very good, man. Like, a lot of too high. Nico's not been great against it this year. I think it's more of a Stroud result than it is Nico. But L'Jarius Sneed's not playing great, although he's talking a little bit of smack to Nico Collins. Good luck. Nico's going to drop 150 on you this week, Sneed. Not smart. You're not that dude anymore at this part of your career to sit here and be talking that crap to one of the best wide receivers in the league. Godspeed. But the other thing I'll bring up here is that for Houston to sit here and put up the points to push this to the over, because I just don't think the Tennessee Titans have the capability with their offense. It helps them if Derek Stingley misses this game, but still, like, Calvin Ridley ain't carrying no passing attack in the year 2025. It's just not happening, dude. I think this also has to be a good day for the Houston rushing attack, which they can get there. Tennessee cannot stop the run. Like, they're fourth worst in explosive run rate and rushing yards per game. I'm not telling you that Nick Chubb looks like yesteryear Nick Chubb, but against this run defense, he might surprise some people.
What do you think, Fitz? What's the path to the over here?
Oh, man, trying to paint a picture of an interesting, fun Texans-Titans game. That's a tall order, Worm. But, well, I mean, you could say that the Texans haven't been especially good against the run. Like, their run defense is 28th in DVOA. They've given up 4 rushing touchdowns. And the Texans are also 26th in pressure rate, which is pretty disappointing for a team with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Like, I don't get that. But if the Titans can run the ball effectively, keep like down and distance manageable and keep the Houston pass rush from getting to Cam Ward, who's been smacked around in the first 3 weeks. I'm worried the kid isn't going to survive the season. But if that happens, maybe the Tennessee offense can be functional, you know, if they keep those guys from getting a Ward. And then on the other side of the ball, the Titans defense is 29th in DVOA, like 31st in DVOA against the run. So, yes, the Houston offensive line is just garbage, but if it can be just decent this week, like, you can certainly move the ball and score points on the Titans D.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk anymore about this game because it's gross.
Okay.
It's so gross, dude. It's so gross.
All right, let's go to Panthers at Patriots. After all the fumbles from the New England backfield last week, is this the game TreVeyon Henderson finally gets unleashed, Fitz?
Man, you would hope so if you are a TreVeyon Henderson investor. Like, it had to be really frustrating for the Henderson investors that after Ramondre Stevenson coughed up his second fumble last week, Antonio Gibson was in on the next series, got a carry on first down, got another carry on second down, and then fumbled the ball away himself. So that was early third quarter. The good thing was after that Gibson fumble, from that point on, Henderson was the only New England running back who touched the ball the rest of the game. Like, Henderson, his snap shares were 35% in week 1, 31.7% in week 2, up to 45.9% last week with the spike in usage in the second half. So maybe his snap share hits 50% for the first time this week. Like, all we ask, please, TreVeyon Henderson, just hold on to the ball.
Yeah, and he is not somebody who fumbled, you know, in college or anything.
No,
so
not an issue. I mean, anyone can cough it up, but like it hasn't been a problem for him. It's clearly been a problem for Ramondre and Gibson over their careers.
Yeah, for sure. Debra, what do you think? Is this the game?
If this isn't the game, I don't know what the game is going to be, man. I mean, to be honest, like, this is the perfect matchup. This is the one that you unleash him. Both the other running backs have fumbled. And to Fitz's point, after Ramondre put the ball on the ground in the third quarter, Henderson played 72% of the snaps after that for the rest of the game. He had a 63% route share. I think this is the week that they unleash TreVeyon Henderson. The Panthers they're just giving up everything on the ground, man. Like, their pass defense has been really good, but their run defense has been god-awful still. I was hoping it was going to be better with some of the additions they made, Derek Brown coming back, but it has not worked out. It has not been the case. And if there was ever a game to get Travion Henderson going, it is this one against a Carolina run defense that's given up the 8th most rushing yards and the 3rd highest yards after contact per attempt. And I guess the only thing that my takeaway with Travion right now is I'm kind of surprised, and I know it's only 19 carries. I get that, guys. I'm kind of surprised like how little he's making guys miss. Like he has only a 5% missed tackle rate. So again, I think this is more small sample because the guy is explosive. We saw that multiple years in college. I don't think that he just lost all of that, but it is a little bit eyebrow raising to this point that he's done or hasn't done what he hasn't done with the work that he's been given.
Where is he ranked for you, Debro?
Oh, I think I got him inside my top 24 running backs right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've got him at RB 23. Like, I do think that this is the game where he gets unleashed. I think he's probably going to play at least 50% of the snaps. And again, he hasn't looked like great on a per touch basis to this point. This is the matchup. This is the matchup. Like, we all saw like what Travis Etienne did in week 1 and what he hasn't done since week 1. Like, this is it, dude.
Fitz, did you say where you have him ranked?
31 for Henderson, 33 for Ramondre. I'm just not totally convinced that they do the right thing and play Henderson more.
Okay. If you want a chance,
Vrabel doesn't seem like the head coach that's going to sit there and force that, Fitzy. Like the old school guy is like, nah, you in the Vrabel doghouse, baby. Like
Vrabel
we
did
remember
say
Traylon.
He was like, Ramondre needs to figure this out because we need him to, be a real significant part of this team. Like he was talking like he wants him to keep getting chances and figure it out. I don't know if that's how it's going to play out, but
if
Vrabel's
only
doghouse is deep and ugly, man.
I
Just
know.
saying.
If only every coach, if only Vrabel was as quick to throw Ramondre in fumble jail as like Ron Rivera used to be to throw Gibson into fumble jail.
Oh, jeez, man.
If you want a chance to win a signed Jamar Chase Bengals jersey for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to fantasypros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Fantasy Pros app, leave a review for the podcast, or follow us on X, Instagram, or TikTok at Fantasy Pros. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive. We will be announcing a winner right here on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Guys, how about Chargers at Giants? Cam Skattebo is taking over the Giants' backfield fits, but the Chargers' defense is no joke. Where are you ranking him this week? Expert consensus ranking has him at RB 23. That's in half PPR scoring. Let me just make sure that I didn't update. RB 22 now, so moved up just a spot.
Yeah, so the Chiefs' run defense, no joke either, and Skattebo 10 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown on the ground last year, and in addition to 6 yards per carry against that very good Chiefs run defense. Skattebo's work in the passing game was even more exciting, I think. 6 catches, 61 yards on 8 targets. This guy is so much fun. I wasn't sure how well Cam Skattebo's game was going to translate to the NFL. Like the physical tackle breaker going against a different breed of defenders and tacklers. It looks like it's going to translate very well. Thank you. Cam Skattebo is just so hard to bring down. I've got him RB 14 this week. No yes! Tyrone Tracy for the Giants. He dislocated his shoulder last week. The Giants' backfield now belongs to Cam Skattebo, and you would imagine the Giants are going to want to lean on him pretty heavily this week with rookie QB Jackson Dart making his first NFL start against this good Chargers defense.
Debro, you seemed to be in agreement here.
Dude, I was hoping Fitzy wasn't going to come here and throw cold water on this, man. I'm so in. I've got Cam Skattebo at RB 16. I think he's going to crush this week. And I think it's gone under the radar. You can run the ball against the freaking Chargers. This defense has given up the 7th highest explosive run rate and the highest missed tackle rate. Well, guess what? That cherry on top of all of that, they got the 3rd lowest stuff rate, and they get Cam Skattebo this week. Dude, we're going to get some really good gifts and stuff out of Cam Skattebo and some good moments. I think he's going to have a really good game, man. Strong RB2. I'm all in for it. And I think that I had to include him because he was a little bit, I think it was like RB 25 when we did the primer video, which should be live on YouTube at the time you're watching this. I had to include him because I felt like with people with their roster composition, Cam Skattebo is a player you probably drafted as like an RB3, RB4, and you're like, at this point, it's Jackson Dart's first game and the defense, and you're so worried, and everybody's like, I don't know if I should play him or not. You need to play Cam Skattebo this week. He is an RB2. Get him into your flex. He's probably a flex on most different rosters unless you just lost like James Conner, other injuries, Aaron Jones. You should be licking your chops to play Cam Skattebo this week.
Isn't the NFL so much more fun where there's a running back like Mike Allstott or, sorry,
Peyton
this is going
Hillis-esque?
to date you, but John Riggins,
Yes,
who is just
so
impossible to tackle and just bounces defenders off them like ping pong balls. Like Skattebo is just going to be a joy to watch, man. I can't wait to enjoy his career.
I think it's a good point by you, D-Bro, on like he was not drafted to be a starter. So unless you've had injuries, like you are going to have to choose to play him ahead of somebody that you had drafted ahead of him and who maybe even has played okay this season for you.
I got a great one.
Okay.
I know you're searching for a name, Worm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cam Skattebo or Chase Brown?
Man.
Come on. We all want to say Cam Skattebo. Like,
yeah. Ironically, Chase Brown is actually ranked back-to-back with him in ECR. I feel like it
Cam
has to be
Skattebo or Tony Pollard.
Right? Like,
I'm still playing Cam Skattebo.
yeah,
Like,
I was going to say Javonte or Skattebo.
Cam.
I mean,
Cam
with Javonte
Skattebo
going
or
against Green
David
Bay,
Montgomery.
yeah.
Cam.
I would do Cam.
Exactly.
Montgomery.
That's my point.
Yeah. I will be really excited to. Let's do this, D-Bro, then we'll move off at this point. Where is he rest of season for you?
Ooh. I think he's a comfortable RB2, high end RB2. I'm looking at my rest of season ranks, and I probably got him too low in there, but RB20, I've got him as my rest of season ranks.
Okay.
He's not giving. If he stays healthy, he's not giving this job back to Tyrone Tracy. I want to be very clear about that. I said that in the offseason. Brian Daboll has a history of utilizing one back. Again, pop quiz time, boys. Who was the OC with Peyton Hillis' monster season? It was Brian freaking Daboll. Like, this archetype of volume compiling back, he likes this archetype of back. It was Devin Singletary. It was Zach Moss, but Zach Moss wasn't good enough in Buffalo to take the job. So, he's going to take this job, and health permitted, because of I understand his play style, and as the touches kind of like ramp up and the hits ramp up, there are worries there for me. But if he stays healthy, he's not letting go of this job. He's not.
Let's go to Eagles at Buccaneers. This is the last game in the early slate. Fitz, was the second half against the Rams an outlier for the Eagles offense, or did they unlock something in their passing game for moving forward?
I'd like to think they unlocked something, and if their passing game was locked, it was pretty much self-locking. Like, they just had not been throwing downfield very much, but then, they fell behind against the Rams and really opened up the offense in the second half, and they looked great. Like, Jalen Hurts was throwing darts. A.J. Brown was making plays. Hopefully we get more of that this week.
D-Bro, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a case the Eagles felt like the person that locked their keys in the car. You can't drive anywhere when you don't have your freaking keys, man. And the keys to this offense, and no shade against Saquon Barkley, but should be the passing attack and stuff, man. Like, Saquon's per touch efficiency has not been great this year. That has to get noted here. And you have two of the best wide receivers, arguably the best wide receiver tandem in the entire freaking NFL. And I think what really is going to kind of like push the Eagles in this direction this week especially is they're against another pass funnel defense. Like, the Buccaneers are an elite run defense. They're top 12 in stuff rate, lowest missed tackle rate, and yards before contact per attempt. So looking at just this matchup, yes, the Eagles should lean into their passing attack. Can I tell you definitively that they're not going to be hard-headed and try to run the ball in the first quarter and then find out, oh, this is probably a really stupid idea, and then change course? Possibly.
That feels maybe more likely that they pivot partway through the game.
I hope they don't wait until the freaking fourth quarter this time and say, oh, hey, guess what? We should probably do this other thing that we're really good at.
By the way, the Rams would like a word about that best wide receiver tandem thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, you're right. Good shout out. Yeah.
I want to ask on the other side of this game, what are our expectations for Emeka Egbuka with Mike Evans out, D-Bro?
He's going to get a crap ton of volume. Like, dude, last week he had almost a 28% target share, and that was One of the things that I was saying Emeka's early season production was fraudulent, but it was very much carried by touchdowns. Like he was living in that like 18 to 19% target share range. It wasn't as high as I think like people would believe just saying, looking at the fantasy production. So last week, seeing him garner a wide receiver one type of workload where he had a 27.5% target share, he had a 35% first read share. Those were really good things because you're either one of the wide receivers that is the archetype of player that can command volume and earn volume at that type of clip, or you're not. And it's that freaking easy. So like we get into this like realm of like projecting guys to earn better target shares than maybe their archetype or their talent allows them to do. That was really encouraging to see from Emeka. I'm worried about him this week because I'm worried about do the Eagles put Quinyon Mitchell on him? Because Quinyon has followed guys like he followed Adams last week on almost 80% of his routes. If that happens, I'm worried about Emeka's outlook, but I think the volume is definitely going to be there because Baker doesn't have a whole lot of other options.
Yeah, Fitz, Debro kind of hit on the follow-up I was going to ask, which is the volume is clearly going to be higher, at least we expect, but so will the defensive attention.
That's exactly it. The push-pull on that. And Egbuka was just sort of maximizing a modest target share early on. Then last week, I should say, spike in target share. And you figure he's going to see more targets this week with no Evans, but yeah, maybe he gets locked up by Quinyon Mitchell. So yeah, I've got him ranked like wide receiver 16. What about you, Debro?
I've got him. I was actually pulling that up. One of my worries here, not to side, I've got him at wide receiver 18 just because of the volume. One of my worries, and this is a quiet worry, we have to see if this is going to pan out. I don't know if Josh Grizzard is any good, man. And just trying to read the small tea leaves of stuff, like the things that we saw Liam Cohen adjust and do different, like when the entire offense got like just cratered to nothing and Cade Otton is put into a power slot role and he has a few monster games. What scared me about the way that Grizzard deployed this offense in previous games, like this is a perfect parallel to this. The week against the Texans, when Mike Evans is getting shadowed by Derek Stingley, and the way that you flip this matchup and you put it back in your favor is you move Mike Evans, put him in the freaking slot, and Derek Stingley is not following him to the slot. Like that's just it's a cheat code. He didn't do it. He just put Mike Evans out there on the boundary and said, sure, just go win. It's cool. Go win. If he does that this week versus Emeka, but the Bucs are going to struggle as a passing attack because they don't have a counterpunch. So I'm worried about, is Grizzard not a great OC, and did the Liam Cohen magic kind of like leave out of the room? Because little things like that where you make it easier for your offense and you exploit different matchups, those are the things you want to press the easy button for your quarterback and your offense. I don't know if dude is good enough to do that.
Let's go to the late afternoon slate Sunday. Colts at Rams, which, by the way, I think is the highest total of the week at 49.5 on Hard Rock Bet. I actually really like the under on that, truthfully. But there are a couple of studs in this game that we are definitely very happy to be starting in our fantasy lineups. I want to ask you guys about two of them. Who finishes better at their position this week? Jonathan Taylor or Puka Nacua? And then also, who finishes better at their position this season if we guaranteed health for these guys? If you look at the consensus rankings on the flex rankings, because obviously they're different positions, Jonathan Taylor is third overall. Puka Nacua is fourth overall. Taylor, of course, is behind a couple of running backs in the consensus rankings. Puka is behind nobody at wide receiver. But how do you guys see this playing out? Who's better this week and for the season? Debra, I'll start with you. Jonathan Taylor or Puka Nacua?
This is not my bias showing. I promise it's not, guys.
I'm so sure.
This is Puka. This is Puka now, and this is Puka rest of season. Puka's, I mean, dude, he hasn't scored any receiving touchdowns. I know he got one on the ground. He has scored 0 receiving touchdowns, and the dude is the runaway wide receiver 1 in fantasy points per game right now with 0 receiving touchdowns. He's scoring 24.5 fantasy points per game with 1 freaking touchdown on the year. 1 total. That's it. And he's not slowing down this week. Where this is a week where I'm not saying JT slows down, but I think like tempering expectations because the Rams do have a really good run defense. Like they're allowed the 6th lowest explosive run rate, 7th lowest missed tackle rate. So they are a good run defense. So I think Jonathan Taylor has not a quiet week. Like, he's still going to get 20 to 25 opportunities. He's still probably going to score touchdowns. So, like, I'm just saying this is not a smash Taylor type of matchup. Whereas, dude, Puka Nacua, Colts run single high at 55% of their defensive snaps. Puka's usage has been ridiculous the whole entire season, but versus single high, dude, he's got a 46.3% target share. He's got 5.6 yards per route run. These are video game type of metrics. These are ridiculous numbers. Like, this is Madden on easy mode type of numbers. So Puka's my answer for both of these.
Fitz?
I'll say Puka on both counts too. Like, he is a reception machine. Like, 29 catches, leading the league. Like, remember that Cooper Kupp season in 2021?
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, Kupp, it was 145 catches that year and almost 2,000 receiving yards for Cooper Kupp. Like, if Puka stays healthy all year, he could put up those types of numbers.
Fitzy, to your point, he's on pace right now for 198 targets, 164 receptions, almost 1,900 receiving yards, 1,887. That's just stupid, man. Stupid.
Do you know off the top of your head who's second in the NFL in receptions right now?
Oh, good Lord. I don't.
It's Jake Ferguson.
What?
Jake Ferguson only has two fewer catches than Puka Nacua. Jake Ferguson is on pace for 153 catches right
now. That
now.
is a sultry stat, Fitzy.
That is crazy.
That's very well done. That's nice.
It's not on the same level as Puka, but I do think it is worth like giving some praise to Jonathan Taylor also, who is having I think that's right, 110 rushing yards per game, averaging a touchdown per game, although obviously on the ground those all came
is he
in
on
the
a
same
2,000
matchup.
yard pace right now? Like, I'm asking. I'm about to look this up. Is he?
I can't do that math that quickly. He has 338 rushing yards through 3 games. So
I'm looking it up.
Whatever that pans out
I'm letting
to.
Pro Football Reference do the hard work for me.
You know, a couple of years ago, whenever
1915,
and he has finished each of the last 2 weeks. He's been RB1 on the week.
A couple of years ago, before the injury, everyone was saying like Nick Chubb was the best pure runner in the league, even if he wasn't necessarily putting up the best numbers. Like, I think Jonathan Taylor gets that title now. He is the best pure runner in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he does look really good.
Yeah.
And
I think just more versatility, more explosion, I think, than like Derrick Henry. And Henry's great. And like, I just think he's got a little more, I think he's better inside than Bijan Robinson is.
My takeaway with JT too is the injuries. I was lower on him, and I'll own that, than consensus. Like, I did not have good things to say because of Daniel Jones, the target share, everything like that. The injuries really hurt him last year, and that's hard. That's a hard thing to quantify and know because we're not in the room and we don't know. But like, looking at the per rush metrics last year were horrible for JT. He's bounced back. Like, he's all the way back to like like what Fitzy was talking about, being like in the conversation or leading the pack for the best pure rusher in the NFL right now. Like, the injuries were really, really bothersome for him last year.
It's funny. I ranked him ahead of consensus like for draft season, and yet I barely drafted him anywhere because I kept just going up.
I avoided him.
I liked him at cost, but I just kept liking other players. There was always one player that fell to me that I liked a little bit better, usually at a different position. You know, I liked the receiver there, or felt like it was a league I wanted to take a swing on Bowers or something like that. So I didn't.
Worm,
really
you didn't know Daniel Jones was going to be this year's Sam Darnold.
No,
Worm, you didn't
not.
know that. I mean, that's what we get in the comments these days. It's
Clearly
like,
not.
come on, guys. Like, I'm like, dude, it's Daniel Jones.
If you told me the entire league stayed healthy this year, like I don't think this is. I think Jonathan Taylor finishes as RB1 this year, like assuming health. I legitimately think very highly of him. But Puka's been awesome also. So that's why I put them together. Let's go to the next game here. Jaguars at 49ers. Ricky Pearsall is ranked 3 spots higher than Brian Thomas Jr. in this game in the rest of, not rest of the season, in the expert consensus rankings for this week. But the rest of season rankings have Thomas 8 spots ahead of Pearsall. Do both of those sound right to you? So again, I'll read that again because I kind of stumbled over that. Pearsall is 3 spots higher for this week in the consensus rankings, but Thomas is 8 spots higher for rest of season in the consensus rankings. Fitz, do those both sound right to you, or would you change either?
Yeah, no, I understand that disparity, and I have that same type of disparity in my own rankings for Ricky Pearsall and Brian Thomas Jr. for week 4 and the rest of the season. Part of the reason I have Pearsall ranked wide receiver 12 this week is because George Kittle isn't playing and Juwan Jennings might not play. But those guys are both going to be playing soon, and then I might not have Pearsall ranked in the top 20 or top 25. Brian Thomas Jr., things are just so bad right now. It seems like he has the yips. He's caught 7 out of 25 targets, a 28% catch rate. It's really hard to confidently endorse him this week when things are so bad, but we've seen how good this guy can be. Like, I don't think it's crazy to think BTJ can get the train back on the tracks at some point and be something closer to the Brian Thomas Jr. we saw last year.
What do you think, D-Bro?
I think Pearsall should be ahead of him in both of them. I worry about George Kittle coming back. I'm not that worried about Brandon Ayuk. We saw the statement saying that he's nowhere close to 100% or seeing the field. Juwan Jennings, at this point of the season, he's already like really, really banged up. Is he going to make it through the season? I don't know. So this could be legit the CMC, Pearsall, and George Kittle show. And if that's the case, he's got enough volume, man. And Ricky P has been freaking fantastic. Like, we all like, everybody's like, oh, can he really step forward and be the guy? Can he be the guy that, first round wide receiver? And with the final 2 games of last year real, when the 49ers put it at his feet and said, can you step up and be the number 1 guy we needed you to be? And he's wide receiver 16. He's got a 21% target share. He's averaging 93.7 receiving yards. He's got 2.6 yards per route run, and he's commanding almost a 28% first read share. Outside of the target share, the rest of those are wide receiver 1 numbers. So I don't have a lot of questions about Ricky P. I got tons of questions about Brian Thomas Jr., whether it's Liam Cohen, that offense, Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr. himself, and whether this is his play or in his head or the wrist injury, because again, we don't know the severity of that. They could say he's a full practice, and that doesn't mean anything, man. Like, these guys' practice reports, and I'm not saying, I'm not conspiracy theorying, like, but I've been around fantasy and the NFL long enough that we see every single year reports, documentaries, Netflix specials come out, and it's like, oh, this dude was way more hurt than we thought, or he was a full-time practice participant. But now we have video stuff on the Netflix documentary saying that, like, bro, I couldn't even make a fist. I couldn't even pick up like a soda to drink with that arm. Like, if ever, would y'all be this surprised if this week's game we get one of those sideline clips like everybody was doing with Joe Burrow before? Like, look, Brian Thomas Jr. is not grabbing his water bottle with that hand. Uh-oh. Like, I'm not going to be shocked. So I think it's just, I'm going with talent, and I'm going with the healthy guy and who's producing, Ricky Pearsall.
Let's go to Ravens at Chiefs. The Ravens defense has been really bad in their 2 games against non-Browns offenses, and their entire starting defensive line is now injured, although Travis Jones did return to practice on Thursday. It was in a limited capacity. Obviously, Nnamdi Madubuike is still not going to be playing this week. We don't know if and when he'll even be back with his neck stuff. And of course, Kyle Van Noy still not practicing. It's a very bad situation.
You sound
for them.
so sad.
Boy, I know. Listen to the phrasing of this question.
Dude,
oh my goodness.
Me and Fitzy are grinning because you sound so painful.
I know. I need to
all this
send
out.
Worm a Hallmark card.
I know.
Like
you were
that.
like, the Ravens defense is playing so bad.
Well,
like, I was like, oh, this dude's going through it. Like,
No. I
going
mean,
through it, baby.
obviously it has been tough. You might remember, guys, that I did kind of predict. When I was pushing back
Worm,
on
it's okay.
the
We
Ravens,
can give you an audible hug here.
Well,
buddy.
no.
We love
What I'm
you.
saying is, like, I
okay.
kind of predicted that the run defense was going to be a problem this year, and it's been much worse than I expected. Of course, I didn't expect this level, but that was my concern for the team going into the season. So it's not really even that surprising, to me, and crushing. It's kind of what I expected, just on a more extreme version of it. And of course, the injuries. What I really feel bad about, and actually like kind of crestfallen for, is Madubuike, who's a great player and a seemingly great person who has possibly not going to play again type of injury. Like, it's really unknown right now what's going on with his neck injury, but it's just very scary. But setting all that aside, the reason I bring this up is to say Isaiah Pacheco has also been super bad, but he now gets to go up against this really beaten up and bad and no depth defensive line. So I'm wondering what kind of game you guys are expecting from Pacheco, considering his poor start to the season, but that this is actually a very good matchup. And even if the Chiefs end up having to, if the Ravens offense, plays really well, even in a tough matchup against the Chiefs defense, well, maybe not that tough, but a matchup that's given them, problems in the past, the Chiefs will have to throw a lot. So you would think, well, maybe Pacheco doesn't do that well, but I think there will be scoring opportunities Plus, like I said, the beat up defensive line. So, Fitz, I'll start with you on this one. What kind of game are you expecting from Pacheco given all that?
Even if he runs more effectively than he has in his first 3 games, and he's only averaging 3.7 yards per carry with his longest run of the season going for just 10 yards, I don't know if he gets enough work to really move the needle in fantasy. Like Pacheco, just the snap shares are around 50%. He hasn't had more than 10 carries in a game, and he's only had 6 targets all season with just 3 in the last 2 weeks. So I don't really see a big game for him. And if he does go for 100 yards rushing against your Ravens, Worm, then it's safe to totally abandon hope.
Yeah, if you can't take advantage of this matchup, I think that's a fair point. Debro, what do you think?
I said exactly what I said in the primer. I'll say again here. Baltimore's a terrible run defense. If you're willing to flex Pacheco again at this point, Godspeed. Like, he's not playing well. He's on an offense that has had... If he can't get it done against the Giants, he's not going to get it done.
I mean, if you're not... well, let me ask you this, Debro, and sorry to cut you off.
They don't want to run the ball either. They don't even want to run the ball.
If you're not starting him in this matchup, shouldn't you just drop him? Why is he even on your team?
Yeah, like, I don't disagree at all. Like... He's not playing effectively on a per touch basis. He's in an offense that doesn't want to freaking run the ball. So even if you want to talk about volume, he's not going to get there. The Chiefs have already told you that they don't want to do that. They're not going to feature him. If anything, I'll take a left field shot on freaking Brashard Smith catching a wheel route in this game than I will on freaking flexing Isaiah freaking Pacheco. And to that point, the Ravens have been bad versus receiving backs over the last 2 years. So I would rather bet on that than anything with Pacheco. No, I'm not, man. Like, it all lines up that he's not getting usage. The team doesn't want to run the freaking ball. He's not good at running the ball. Tell me, would y'all be surprised, or if you're not betting this, but who leads them in carries this week? Isaiah Pacheco or Kareem Hunt?
Hunt?
I mean,
probably Hunt.
Maybe 50-50.
But by the way, I don't have a good feel on the total for this game. It's at 49. I would bet a lot of money on Chiefs plus 2.5. I think that line is a mistake. The Ravens have beaten the Chiefs in this era of Lamar and Mahomes.
Oh, I think the Ravens are going to hand it to them, man.
They've only beaten them once ever. They get out of themselves when they face Kansas City. It's in Kansas City. They freak them. Even when they are the better team, they get in their own heads, and they get away from who they are. They always look bad against Steve Spagnuolo. Like, I don't understand why the Chiefs are dogs. And also the ref in this game, Warren Sharp, was just tweeting this out. I forget the ref's name, but I just saw this earlier this morning that lifetime in games that the Ravens have played with this ref, they're 0-3, and the Chiefs' lifetimes in game with this ref are 6-0. So, like, it just is very much going against the Ravens, even setting aside the fact that they're always bad against the Chiefs. Like,
and we're gonna get one of those moments where Mahomes like does that crap where he runs along the sideline and then he like tries to fall over and pretend like somebody tried to like take his head off whenever they touched his thigh or something.
Obviously, I would love to be wrong, but I really do not think the Ravens are winning this game. I will be very shocked, honestly. I think the Ravens Chiefs win. Plus 2.5 is a smash, but I would love to be wrong. So we'll see what happens.
I will be the Ravens fan for this. I think they win. I think the Chiefs just don't have the firepower, man.
I appreciate you taking up the torch for me here. Bears at Raiders. Caleb Williams and the Bears are coming off their best game of the season, but it did come against the Dallas defense that makes everybody look like they have the best game of their season. How will Chicago follow it up against the Raiders, D-Bro?
I think and I think this Raiders defense is slowly evolving into the Raiders defense that I thought we were going to get this year, and they're not very good. Their secondary is not very good. Like, they've given up the 7th highest yards per attempt, 10th highest passer rating, and 10th most passing yards per game. I think it's another opportunity for Rome Odunze to just eat, man. Lots of single high coverage. He's got a 29.6% target share. I think Caleb's going to feature him, and I think Caleb's going to have another good day.
By the way, just because I only just mentioned this, and this came out a minute ago on Twitter, Kyle Van Noy was back at practice for the Ravens, for whatever that's worth.
Let's go.
All right, Ravens minus 2.5. Go for it. No, I'm just kidding.
He's reverse course, people.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy moves the line 5 points for me. Fitz, what do you think on Bears Raiders?
Well, the Raiders are 26th in DVOA against the pass. They're 21st in pressure rate. So Caleb kind of goes from one soft matchup against Dallas into another against Las Vegas. He's QB3 in fantasy scoring, 6th in passer rating among quarterbacks with more than one start, tied for second in touchdown passes, 11th in passing yardage. It's been pretty good, and he's adding rushing value too with 97 rushing yards and a touchdown. Looks like a pretty good spot for him, and maybe this Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams marriage is going to work after all.
Debra, have you started to? I'm guessing the answer to this is no, but do you feel any differently about like Caleb's long-term outlook after the start of this season, or no?
I don't want to sound like just the Caleb hater constantly. I do think it has to get pointed out that like. I think it was 3 or all of his passing touchdowns were against terrible blown assignments by Dallas. So I don't think we've seen a big enough sample, especially him versus like actually good defenses. I think he's gotten a lot of cupcake matchups. He's going to get another one this week. Not saying that he won't, but I want to see Caleb perform better when things are not going his way, in the sense of when a team can pressure you and it's against a good, like not like a freaking Minnesota Vikings, but like a top 7 to 10 defense that can get after him. That's the litmus test of like playing on schedule and back foot rip it and playing better against pressure instead of trying to hero ball and falling back into the things. That's what I want to see for Caleb Williams. He does that. I'm more in the camp of believing than I am still skeptical.
Sunday Night Football, Packers at Cowboys. What is the Cowboys passing game going to look like against what is a great defense, and also that they are, in fact, without CeeDee Lamb? Fitz, I'll start with you.
Probably not pretty. The Packers are really applying the heat on quarterbacks, and they're giving up 4.8 yards per pass attempt. And I don't know if George Pickens can be a lead receiver in place of Lamb. That was kind of one of the things that had us excited. Maybe people who wanted to invest in Pickens, that he didn't have to be a lead receiver with CeeDee Lamb around. He could just kind of do his thing. Like he doesn't really run the whole route tree. Like his thing is making big plays down the sideline, and asking him to be a 1-for-1 CeeDee Lamb replacement just doesn't work. So I think they're going to struggle.
What do you think, Debra?
I mean, I think what are we going to see from the Cowboys offense? We're going to see a crap ton of George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. So I don't know how much success they're going to have, and I think a lot of that comes down to, I mean, they're down some offensive linemen. I don't know how much time Dak is going to have, but I think that Pickens and Jake Ferguson are going to get a crap ton of targets. Like, pencil them both in for like 8 to 12 targets. They're going to get featured. And historically, George Pickens is very good against single high. Like, that's his bread and butter. So I've got a little more hope against, like, if you were to tell me the Packers drop into like a 2-high shell, then good luck. I mean, Ferguson would be it, and Pickens is going to struggle. But if the Packers match him up with single high, I think Pickens can have some success because he's going to get force-fed volume. But I'm not telling anybody it's going to be pretty, because if Micah Parsons is in that backfield all freaking day, standing over Dak Prescott, it's not going to be good.
How many sacks is Micah getting in this game, Fitz?
I'll say just one, because he's going to get double and triple teamed all game. But like collectively, I think the Packers are getting like
just one.
The Packers are going to get 6, but Micah just gets 1 because of all the defensive attention. And Debro mentioned it. They've got. They lost their starting center, Cooper Beebe. He's not playing. First-round rookie Tyler Booker, he's out for this game. So, like, down a couple of starting offensive linemen against this Packers pass rush is just not a good scene for the Cowboys.
Debra?
I'll take the over. I think Parsons sacks him twice. Like, if I was a betting book, I would set the line at 1.5.
All right, let's go to, we have 2 games on Monday Night Football. Jets at Dolphins is the first one. Breece Hall now has had back-to-back tough games coming off of his great week 1. He now gets the Dolphins defense in a possible get-right game. Debro, predict his stat line.
Dude, this is a fun nerd experience for me. I love this question because I went through, I got into it deep in the bag. Like, I was like, all right, We're going to go rushing rate. We're looking at rushing volume. I want to sit here and see how many I went like full projections mode with this. So, and then afterwards, I compared it against what's live on Fantasy Pro's site. I was pretty freaking close, man. So I have Breece Hall for 16 rushing attempts, 80 rushing yards, 2 catches, 21 receiving yards. And I'll give him a score. I know the red zone's been more Braylon Allen, so maybe that goes sideways. The site had him for 14.4, 62.4, 3 catches, and 26 yards. So comparatively, I'm a little more bullish because I think the Jets are the Dolphins' run defense is god awful. So I'm more ceiling focused here. But 18 touches versus the site 17.5. I have 101 total yards, and the site for Fantasy Pros, we have him projected for 88.4. So pretty close.
Fitz?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty close to Debro on the rushing prediction and pretty close to our projections at Fantasy Pros with the receiving. So I've got 17 for 75 on the ground, 3 for 28 in the air. I'll say no touchdowns. Okay. But like opponents are running on the Dolphins defense at the highest rate in the league. Mm-hmm. Like Miami opponents have run the ball on 52.8% of their offensive snaps. Interestingly enough, the Jets are being run on at the second highest rate, 51.3%. So, this series has been interesting. The Dolphins have kind of had the Jets number. And, I was surprised when I saw that Miami opened as 3-point favorites, but then I kind of remember the recent history has been going in the Dolphins' direction. So maybe we see like a run-heavy attack for both teams here, although I don't know. I can't see the Dolphins just pounding away with the running game, but you never know. This is kind of a sneaky, interesting game, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Last game of the week, Bengals at Broncos. Cincinnati got completely destroyed in week 3, and you might be able to point to the matchup as particularly tough, but a game at the Broncos is not that much easier for a backup quarterback. So how well do we think the Bengals offense will bounce back, Debro?
They won't. They're not going to bounce back against this defense. The same problems that Jake Browning had against Minnesota. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Now he faces a defense with Denver that has the 12th best pressure rate, and they blitz at the 3rd highest freaking rate. Sound pretty similar to Brian Flores? Mm-hmm. Because it is. It is. A lot of man coverage. Jamar Chase is going to get wrapped up with Patrick Surtain this week, so that's not good. They cannot run the ball. The Bengals have arguably the worst offensive line in the NFL. Poor Chase Brown, dude. He has the lowest yards before contact per attempt in the NFL to work with. Not even a full freaking yard. 0.43. This man is getting contacted before he even gets 3 feet past the freaking offensive line. So, good luck. Like, you're starting Jamar Chase, and outside of Jamar Chase, and you're just starting Jamar Chase in principle because it's based off of talent and volume. It's not because if you took the name Jamar Chase out of this, do I want to go up against Patrick freaking Surtain? No, I do not. But outside of that, I don't want to start a single other Bengal this week. None.
Fitz?
I thought Chase Brown was actually averaging negative yards before contact per attempt. Is that wrong? Maybe I'm wrong on that. But at any rate, the Bengals offensive line ranks dead last in the league in the adjusted line yards, run blocking metrics. So yeah, it's just hard to see any hope for the running game. And then the Bengals have given up 10 sacks and face arguably the best pass rush in the league, or maybe it's Green Bay's, one of the best pass rushes in the league. Nick Bonito is just like, that dude is darn near unblockable for the Broncos. He is just so good. I don't see much hope for the Bengals offense, honestly.
Fitzy, you're almost right. Chase Brown, 0.02 yards before contact. He's barely at the positive, baby. Just barely by a toenail.
Blutarski.
Wow.
So bad, dude. It's so bad.
On that lovely note, we'll go ahead and wrap up the show because we went a little long. Best of luck to everybody here in week 4 for Debro and Fitz. I'm Ryan Wormeli. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.